All right, my red group, welcome to your first assignment. We're just going to review how to actually write out these synthesis reactions. So like what we were doing the past couple of days, we've been taking a written equation and we're going to be condensing it down into those chemical symbols that we know for those elements. So, sorry, my allergies are kicking my butt right now. My voice might sound a little scratchy. So here's what you need. You need your red worksheet, which can be found on our agenda, it can be found on BB9. You are going to need your periodic table and your chemical formula sheet. I keep them both in my binder so that I don't lose them. I would recommend that for you. Have them up, have access to them because we're going to be using them constantly throughout this worksheet. So, first we are going to write out our format equation. So this is like the formula that all of our synthesis equations are going to follow. So, for this, we are going to write these as letters. Just like in math, when you have a formula, your letters replace your numbers. Well, in chemistry, our letters replace our chemical symbols. So, for our first element, we're going to have A plus X is going to give me AX. So this is replacing our first element, A. This is another element, X. That's going to give me this compound, which is AX, because that's what a synthesis reaction is. It's two things coming together to make one larger, more complex compound. This should just be a review from our identifying types of reactions worksheet on page 100, I believe that was. Okay, so now we're going to go through the steps. This should also be reviewed from the last couple days. In order to keep these steps straight, I am going to color code my notes here. So I'm using orange for the yellow. So this step is going to be done in orange. This step is going to be done in pink. And then I'm going to write my overall equation in blue. You just can't see yellow very well when I'm writing it in pen, so that's why we're doing orange instead. Okay. So now we're going to complete and balance the following synthesis reactions. So, step number 1. Using my chemical formula sheet, right here, write the symbols and charges for all reactants and compounds. Write an arrow for produces, a plus for reacts with, or and. So anytime it says and or reacts with, we're going to say a plus. So first I'm going to underline what I need to replace with symbols. So I have reactants, I have magnesium, I have oxygen. So reacts with is going to be a plus, so I'm going to put a little plus here to remind me about that. To produce means an arrow, a little arrow there, and magnesium oxide. Alright, so now I'm going to write down my symbols and my charges. Okay, so magnesium is Mg plus 2 plus, because we got our reacts with, oxygen, which is a minus 2, is going to produce Mg plus 2O minus 2. Alright, did I write all my symbols? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yes. So I wrote my pluses, I wrote my arrows, I am good with my yellow. First step is done. Now I'm going to pick up my pink pen for the next step. We're going to add our subscripts. So if it is a diatomic element, you have to add a subscript of 2, and for a compound, you need to crisscross. Okay, magnesium is all by himself. So that would be an element, so we're not going to write a charge there. That one's just going to stay as magnesium. Oxygen, let's check our diatomic element list, which is on our chemical formula sheet, down on the bottom left-hand corner. Iodine bromine, chlorine, fluorine, oxygen. Okay, so we need an O2 here. And remember, we only add our diatomics when that element is all by itself. All right, and then now we need to write our subscripts for our compound. So if you remember, we had that little review sheet. So we write these out, we write our charges. If these are equal but opposite, then we just cross them out and we're left with MgO. All right, if you don't want to balance, remember, you can stop here and get a B. Or we can move on and write our balanced equation and get an A, which I think you are all very capable of doing that. So we're gonna do that. So I'm gonna leave a space here, and I have my Mg by himself, because that's our element. Remember, elements do not have charges, plus our diatomic. And I'm going to make sure that I leave a line here so that I have space to write my coefficients. And then we have our arrow because we're producing MgO. All right, and I'm going to use one more color to do my coefficients because I don't want to mess up and have to scribble things out. So I'm going to grab out my pencil. I have 1 Mg, 1 Mg, 2 O's, 2 O's. Okay? So, Mg's balance, my O's do not balance. Oh, they do when I write them incorrectly. I have 1 O here. I'm sorry, 1 oxygen there. I have 2 oxygens here, 1 here. I bring the bigger number over and I divide. 2 divided by 1 is 2. And remember, every time that I have a coefficient, I should have numbers above both elements. 2 times 1 is 2. So now I have 2 oxygens, 1 magnesium, 2 magnesiums. That doesn't work. Let's bring the magnesium over. 2 divided by 1 is 2. So 2 times 1 is 2. 1 times 2 is 2. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 and 2, 2 and 2. That is balanced. Let's do one more together. But we're going to do one where you have to fill in the products because that is harder. Okay? So we talked about just transcribing the reaction. You guys knew how to do that. Something that you were already doing. Grab out my note sheet so I'm not misinforming you about anything. We're gonna go and do number 8 together. All right. Number 8. I'm gonna highlight, or I'm gonna underline everything that I need in order to write this. So I have fluorine. Reacts with means I need a plus. Chromium 3. To produce means I need an arrow. Oh. No, we're going to write one where we write the products ourselves. So we're actually going to do, sorry guys. We are going to do number 4. Okay. We're going to do number 4 together. Okay, so we're going to say iron 3 reacts with bromine, and we remember we need an arrow because we're producing products. So now we need to figure out what our products are. Okay, so if we use our formula from up here, A plus X is going to give me AX. So what do we have? We've got iron plus bromine is probably going to give me iron 3 bromide. But you wouldn't know the scientific name, and that's okay. You don't need to know the scientific name. So we're going to write out our charges and our symbols for this before we combine it. So grab out your chemical formula sheet and you're gonna say Fe plus, iron 3, look up iron 3, Fe plus 3 plus Br minus 1 is going to give me, all right, so if we have A plus X, it's going to give me AX. These two should be combined as our products, right? Fe plus 3, Br minus 1. All right, so now we need to write our subscripts in. Okay, remember, element on its own doesn't get a charge unless it's a diatomic. Is iron on our diatomics list? No, then we're just gonna leave him how he is. But bromine is on our diatomics list, so that gets a 2. All right, are these equal but opposite? No, so now we have to crisscross. This comes down here, this comes over here, so I have Fe1, Br3, and now we rewrite it so it looks nice, and remember we're gonna leave space so that we can balance that. So we have Fe reacting with Br2, right, because it's a diatomic, so we need that subscript, is going to give me Fe Br3. So remember, with our diatomics, they only become diatomics when they're by themselves. In a compound, they are no longer diatomics. So in the synthesis reactions, you should only see diatomics in the on the reactant side, right? This one has a 3 because it needs to balance out with this iron. This is a +3, this is a -1, so we need 3 of them in order to balance that out. That's from when we wrote out ionic compound. We wrote out ionic formulas. All right, oh, I didn't leave a space for my coefficient, I'm sorry. So now let's balance this. I've got 1 iron, 2 bromines, 1 iron, 3 bromines. Okay, I bring the bigger number over here. 3 divided by 2 is 1.5. That doesn't work. So instead we're gonna multiply these. 3 times 2, I want 6. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 3 times 2 is 6. I want 6 over here as well now, so 6 divided by 3 gives me 2. So now let me check to make sure I did all my math. I say 1 times 1 is 1, 3 times 2 is 6, 2 times 1 is not 1, 2 times 1 is 2, and 2 times 3 is 6. Okay, my bromines balance out, but my irons do not. So we bring the bigger number over. 2 divided by 1 gives me 2. I have 2 irons and 2 bromines. And that is how you write a chemical equation, a balanced chemical equation, without knowing your products. Okay? Please WebEx me with any questions that you have. If you are virtual, if you are in person, you can absolutely WebEx me, email me, or come see me in person. Please let me know if you have any questions or you're still confused about this. Otherwise, good luck. Complete the rest of them and check your answers on VV9.